She stole my groom, so I destroyed her fantasy wedding in one sentence. I knew something was wrong the second I heard my sister laughing in the hallway outside my dressing room. It wasn't the happy wedding day kind of laugh. It was the sharp, smug kind she used when she'd already won a game no one else knew they were playing. And the worst part? I had no idea the target was me until it was way too late. 30 minutes before the rehearsal dinner, my fiancé, Evan, was supposed to meet me so we could walk in together. Instead, he walked in holding my sister's hand. Yeah, that was the moment the floor dropped. I remember staring at them like my brain had disconnected from the rest of my body. My sister, Allison, had this soft, fake little pout on her face, like she was breaking bad news about a sick goldfish, not dropping a bomb on my wedding week. "We need to talk," Evan said, avoiding my eyes. Turns out, according to Allison, she and Evan had accidentally developed feelings while helping me with wedding preparations. She said it like it was an inconvenience, like catching a cold. Evan didn't deny it, didn't even look ashamed. He just said he didn't want to start a marriage with secrets. Secrets. My sister was calling her betrayal a secret. Cute. I felt my heart doing this weird, hollow, slow motion thing while they explained how they didn't mean for this to happen, how it just felt right, and how they owed me honesty. Honesty. On the week of my wedding. By the time they finished, I couldn't feel anything. Not sadness, not rage. Just this eerie calm that made Allison shift uncomfortably. Like she expected me to scream. I didn't. I just said, "Okay," and walked out. Because I already knew something they didn't. Allison had always taken from me friends, clothes, opportunities, attention. And my parents always told me to be the bigger person. So she grew up thinking consequences were for other people. But this time, she'd stolen my future. So I decided to give her something in return, a gift, something she would never forget. And honestly, I couldn't wait to watch her open it. The day after they confessed, I woke up feeling like I'd swallowed a brick. My texts were blowing up, my mom asking if I was okay to postpone the wedding gracefully, my aunt sending heart emojis like this was some Hallmark breakup, and Allison leaving me a voice note that started with, "Hey sis, I hope you can find forgiveness in your heart." Forgiveness. My left shoe had done more for me than she ever had. But here's the thing about heartbreak. Once the shock wears off, the clarity hits hard. And in that clarity, I realized something important. Allison always assumed she was smarter than everyone else, but she was also sloppy, careless, fast to brag. So I played dumb. I sent her a text that said, "I'm hurt, but I want to talk. Can we meet?" She replied in seconds. Of course she did. Predators love when the prey limps. We met at our parents' house because she said it felt symbolic. She wore this flowy pink blouse, like she was the protagonist in a redemption arc. Evan wasn't there. Too emotional, she claimed. Translation: he didn't want to face the person he stabbed. Allison launched straight into a speech about how she never planned this, how she thought I deserved someone more compatible, and how she was taking responsibility for her truth. She really said that, like she had just published a memoir. And while she talked, I watched her. Not the words, the face, the micro expressions, the way her eyes darted when she lied, the way her fingers toyed with her necklace, the one she'd stolen from my drawer when we were teenagers. She wasn't sorry, she was proud. That was the confirmation I needed. So I gave her exactly what she wanted, a soft smile and a statement that changed everything. "I'm not mad anymore," I said quietly. "In fact, I have something for you." Her eyebrows lifted like she'd just been nominated for Sister of the Year. "A gift," I said, "for your new beginning." And oh, she ate that up. She hugged me, actually hugged me, and squealed, "I knew you'd understand." I didn't hug back, because the gift wasn't something you wrap. It was something you reveal. And I planned to give it to her in front of everyone she cared about. She wanted my fiancé. She could keep him, along with the truth she'd been hiding from him, because I'd discovered something she never expected me to know. And the moment she opened that gift, her perfect little fantasy life would detonate. I didn't plan the gift overnight. No, this needed precision, timing, and most importantly, an audience. Because Allison lives for attention, but she dies from humiliation. And what I had on her? Oh, it was nuclear. See? Allison's whole relationship with Evan was built on this fairy tale she spun for him. She was finally ready for a real grown-up partnership. She'd changed. She wasn't that girl anymore. And Evan, bless his naive heart, believed every syllable. But I knew the truth. A month before the wedding mess, I'd accidentally seen a string of messages pop up on Allison's laptop when she asked me to help her print something. Messages from a guy labeled A. At first, I thought it was harmless until I scrolled. Let's just say they weren't discussing Bible study. He was her on-again, off-again hookup. A guy she kept as a fallback. Someone she'd slept with, dumped, reeled back in, dumped again, and still kept warm like leftovers she might want later. And the last message she sent him? I swear, if Evan wasn't so good on paper, I'd choose you again. But I need stability. Just keep quiet, okay? The timestamp was from 3 days before she confessed her feelings to Evan. She didn't fall in love with him. She traded up, and she had no clue I knew. So I waited. I told my parents I wanted to attend the post-announcement dinner they were hosting to show maturity. They practically threw confetti. My mom even said, "This is the grace I raised you with." Sure, Helen, let's go with that. When the night came, the house was packed. Family, Evan's relatives, old friends, everyone who'd RSVP'd to my wedding, and suddenly had free time now that they didn't have to buy gifts. Allison walked in with Evan like she was floating. They sat together. They held hands. She acted like she'd just survived a tragic love triangle instead of creating one. People were already whispering. She handled it so gracefully. And, poor thing, falling in love last minute like that. But she kept glancing at me, waiting for me to cry, or crumble, or do something that made her feel powerful again. Instead, I raised my glass. "To Allison," I said. Her smile stretched so wide she practically glowed. "And to truth." Her smile twitched, because she knows my version of truth isn't hers. "Before everyone celebrates their new relationship," I continued, "there's something Allison should probably share with Evan. Silence, real silence. The kind that drops temperature." Evan looked confused. "Share what?" My sister froze. And that was my cue. Time to give her the gift. I didn't even have to look at Allison to know she was panicking. I could feel it, like static in the air. Her fingers tightened around her wine glass, and she leaned forward just slightly, the way she always did when she was gearing up to lie. Too late. I turned to Evan, keeping my voice calm, almost gentle. "Allison hasn't been completely honest with you," I said, "about why she fell for you." He frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" I didn't answer him. I looked straight at my sister. "Do you want to tell him?" I asked softly. "Or should I?" She shook her head. Barely, just a millimeter. Most people wouldn't have noticed, but I'd grown up reading her like a book written in bold font. "Allison," Evan said. Her voice came out tight. She's just trying to ruin this for me. She's hurting. She wants to hurt me back." I shrugged. "Okay, I'll tell him." And then, before she could stop me, I set my phone on the table and turned the screen toward Evan. The text thread with A was right there, open to the messages she'd sent about choosing Evan for stability. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. People leaned in, heads turned. The room went dead silent. Evan picked up the phone. Read. Scrolled, stopped, scrolled back. His face drained so fast it was like watching the blood evacuate. "Allison," he said quietly, "what is this?" She swallowed, hard. "It's old. It doesn't mean anything anymore." "The timestamp is from last month," he said. Her breathing got choppy. "I didn't want to hurt you, so you were seeing someone else while telling me you were falling for me," he said, voice low and flat. She reached for his arm. He pulled away, and that was when she broke. "No!" she cried. It wasn't like that. I wasn't choosing him over you. I was choosing you over him. The logic in that sentence was so catastrophically bad that a few people actually winced. Evan stared at her, stunned. You used me. I loved you, she insisted, but I needed. She stopped herself too late. Someone who could give me a better future. There it was. Not love, not fate, not soulmates. A financial upgrade. Gasps rippled around the table. Evan pushed his chair back. I I can't do this. I can't be part of this. He stood so fast the table shook. Allison reached for him again. Evan, please, if you just let me explain. He shook his head. You blew up your sister's life for this. What do you think you'd do to me? And just like that, he walked out. Everyone watched him leave. No one followed. My sister's face crumpled. Not into remorse, but into rage. You planned this, she hissed. You wanted to humiliate me. I leaned in, voice barely above a whisper. No, Allison. I wanted you to face something you've never faced before. I let the words hang. A consequence. Allison stood in the middle of the dining room, shaking, mascara streaking down her face in those dramatic, uneven lines she always mocked other girls for. But this time, no one rushed to comfort her. No one held her. No one even looked at me with judgment. They just stared at her. Because for the first time in her life, everyone finally saw who she really was. My mom cleared her throat like she wanted to defend her, but even she stayed quiet. Maybe she realized that this wasn't the kind of mess you could fix with a tissue and a guilt trip. Allison whispered, You ruined everything. I tilted my head. No, you ruined everything the second you tried to take something that wasn't yours. I just stopped you from dragging someone else down with you. She opened her mouth to argue, but nothing came out. No excuses, no lies that sounded smooth, nothing. Her silence was almost peaceful. She stormed out a second later, heels slamming into the tile, slamming the door so hard the picture frames rattled. My mom ran after her. My dad stayed seated, staring at the table like he was reconsidering every parenting choice he'd ever made. Guests slowly began to leave, murmuring awkward goodbyes. Some squeezed my shoulder and whispered that I handled it with grace, or deserved better. But honestly, I didn't care about any of that. I just felt free. A quiet, clean kind of free. A few hours later, after everyone left, Evan texted me. It was long, full of apologies, explanations, regret, the whole, I was confused, I should have trusted you, I let myself get swept up, speech. He said he wished we could talk someday. I stared at the message for a long time. But here's the truth I hadn't expected to reach. I didn't want him back. Not because of Allison, but because if he could leave me for someone else, my sister no less, he wasn't my future. He was just someone I'd outgrown without noticing. So I typed one sentence back, I hope you find what you're looking for, but it's not me. No anger, no bitterness, just closure. My sister didn't speak to me for weeks, then months. I heard from a cousin that she tried patching things up with A, only to find out he had moved on. Apparently, the universe gives better gifts than I do. As for me, I moved out of the city, found a sunnier apartment with a tiny balcony garden, started saying no more often, started choosing myself. And sometimes, when I'm sitting outside with my tea, I think back to that night, to the look on my sister's face when she finally realized she wasn't untouchable. That was the moment everything changed, not because I hurt her, but because I stopped letting her hurt me. And honestly, that was the best gift of all.